Sorry about that, class. My last video got cut off, and so I'm going to try to pick back up where I was. But just talking about coming alongside the people that you are mentoring, that you're walking with in life, that you're journeying. A great example that I found this week as I was reading more about this comes from two beloved authors of the 20th century, one being J.R.R. Tolkien, who of course wrote the Lord of the Rings trilogy that we've all come to love, and then C.S. Lewis, his dear friend, whom Lewis described, Tolkien, who led Lewis to Christ out of atheism, which took place over a long period of series of walks and journeys and conversations. So through friendship and even what Lewis describes as mentorship from Tolkien to him, Lewis came to know Christ through that. So just a great example of what we're talking about even this week with the one-on-one relationships and the intentionality there of pursuing those relationships. But C.S. Lewis described of Tolkien one time about this in his work. He said, "The unpayable debt that I owe him was not his influence as it is ordinarily understood, but sheer encouragement. He for a long time was my only audience. Only from him did I ever get the idea that my stuff could be more than a private hobby." And so what Lewis is emphasizing there is just what we're saying about the teacher versus mentor. It wasn't that Tolkien was helping Lewis to even write anything or teach him anything more. Both of them are professors at very prestigious universities at this time. But Tolkien is working with what Lewis already has, what he's already written, and he's encouraging him, saying, your stuff is good. This stuff should be more than just a hobby. Other people need to read this. They can be influenced by it. And he mentors him in that way in those great walks around Magdalen College that we know have now become so famous. And so when we talk about mentoring and how do we start a mentoring ministry, it starts with us. We're going to have it structured sometimes in our church and have these programs. Those are very good. I've been a part of those. But some of the most meaningful relationships in my life have started either people pursuing me for me to be their mentor, me to be them, but just praying for God to bring those relationships together, or ones that just naturally take place in life in general. But again, starting with us praying and seeking that the Lord would use those in a great way, but cultivating that atmosphere of encouragement with one another, what we already bring to the table, but walking alongside one another in that journey. And so this week, I hope that the resources we've offered to you and that are in the PowerPoints are very helpful, and especially again as we work towards your final projects. But if you have any questions or any concerns or added comments, then please email or post them in our question section on Blackboard, and I will get to those. And I'm still working through all your posts from the last few weeks and just trying to read and digest, but you all are doing so well and interacting with one another and just providing such great stuff in those discussion boards. And this week, as I've just mentioned, and as you'll find in the Janet Thompson book, even though we talk about a lot of different practical ways that we can do this that have been discovered or that have worked for people or that we see be a repeatable thing that we can do, she talks a lot about the aspect of prayer and enlisting prayer warriors, being one yourself. And that's what I want to bring to the discussion board this week. It seems a little more devotional, I know, than last week's technical things of finding the websites and posting those and the secular ones and discussing the issue of church versus secular mentoring. But where does prayer play a role in the aspect of mentoring? I want you to answer this based on some things that Thompson mentions in the text. Support your answer that way, but also in your own life, in your own journey. Discover and think about some ways, not just about the actual act of praying. We need to do that, of course, but how can you incorporate prayer into that relationship? What kind of things will you do to make that a priority? That's what I want to hear this week, not only so that I can dialogue about that, but I can learn from you of ways that we can bring this to the front, because that's the big part of it, is we can do all the human things that we want, that we can think of, but without the power of the Spirit and the leading of the Spirit, then what is the purpose in that? It's just going to be made by man's and hands, and that will not stand. So we want to build our house and our mentoring relationships on the rock, whether that ministry is happening in our home, in the church, just out in the world with people that we know. And so that is the study this week. We can stay in touch through Blackboard, email, you can call me, and I look forward to hearing from you and interacting this week in Blackboard Shell and in all other ways. So again, happy Mardi Gras, happy holiday, and I will be back with you guys again on this next week. Thanks.